going to move to the public portion. Good afternoon. The board meeting of the Port Authority of New York and New Jersey and its component units is now being called to order. Today's in-person meeting is also being held virtually via video conference, with the proceedings live streamed from the Port Authority website. Earlier today, the Committee on Capital Planning, Execution, and Asset Management met in public, and the Committee on Finance met in public and executive session. The Commissioners also met in executive session on April 17th and earlier today to discuss matters related to security or public safety, matters related to ongoing negotiations or reviews of contracts or proposals, and to discuss and act upon matters related to the purchase, sale, or lease of real property where disclosure would affect the value thereof, of the public interest. We begin the meeting with a moment of silence. If we can have everyone stand for a moment. We lost Jonathan Edmondson, who was a general maintainer at JFK. Jonathan had started with us in January. He leaves behind a 9-month-old baby and his fiancee, a mom and dad, 5 sisters, and 2 brothers. Thank you. We now want to hear from our Executive Director to provide his report. Rick, welcome.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I'll be brief this month. I'm happy to say that my report is dominated by really 4 very important positive developments, many of which you've just heard about, but which I want to emphasize. First, the agency's overall financial performance for the first quarter of this year was strong. As our Chief Financial Officer just reported, we were better than planned, and total net operating income was $642 million. Second, our seaport had an extraordinary performance in March, handling loaded cargo, which made it the #1 port in the country for March. As the board knows, we have traded off frequently with the #2 position, but this month saw us in the #1 position. Port handled it without any congestion, and it is very gratifying. Third, as you just heard from the Chief Development Officer, the agency hit a high water mark in terms of in the first quarter in terms of 93% of construction milestones being hit on time, and that is a record to be proud of. Fourth, yesterday, we cut the ribbon on a brand new state-of-the-art 350,000 square foot, $270 million cargo handling center at JFK Airport. It was built as a public-private partnership with our private partners Real Term and Worldwide Flight Services. This was the first new cargo building opened at JFK in 25 years. Our cargo facilities have fallen behind our ambition to be a world-class airport, but this building symbolizes our commitment to continue to execute on the $20 billion JFK vision plan to transform JFK into a world-class airport, not only on the passenger side, but on the cargo side as well. As you've heard from our Chief Financial Officer, our volumes at our facilities held steady. Our airports were within 1% of the record volumes that they handled in Q1 last year, and that was despite more severe weather, an extra day but in comparison to our 24 results, as well as our Chief Financial Officer noted, the Eastern holiday travel bump coming in the second quarter and therefore not in the first quarter. I want to say just a few more words in terms of our celebration yesterday out at Kennedy. We were joined by Real Term and Worldwide Flight Services to celebrate the completion of this state-of-the-art, world-class new cargo handling center. The new cargo facility is world-class. It sits on the footprint of 2 obsolete facilities that were demolished in 2021. It includes technology advancements to maximize efficiency in cargo handling and storage, including dedicated temperature control, enhanced ramp capacity, and more than 50 dock doors to ensure efficient flow of goods. This new cargo center ushers in a new era in cargo capabilities at JFK, and that it will be followed by fulfilling the vision articulated in the JFK Transformation and Vision Plan. With that, Mr. Chairman, I conclude my report.
Thank you very much. Any commissioners have any comments or questions? All righty, before we move into the public portion to hear from the public, Christina Callahan, come on up to the microphone. Today's a special day, correct?
Oh, it is.
Well, let's talk about it.
Yes. Good afternoon. So today is Bring Your Child to Work Day.
And how many children do you see up here with us?
0. And it's really exciting because it's incredible to bring your children to your workplace so they get to see what you do. They get to meet the people that you work with. And really what we're doing, maybe, hopefully, is also kind of recruiting our workforce of the future. We do a lot with the Port Authority. We have so many legacy employees. You know, their moms, their dads, their grandparents have worked here, and it's a family thing, right? We see it a lot, and you've talked about it, Mr. Chairman. So we're really excited to host the children and grandchildren and family members of our employees across the organization. Departments have planned lots of activities today. In human capital, for example, you know, they're spending the day doing everything from wellness events to learning about the Port Authority, and it really, I think, captures the essence of who we are as an employer of choice. It's not just about our employees, but it's about their families and continuing that legacy of the Port Authority. So we are very excited to host Bring Your Child to Work.
Now, as I walked off the elevator this morning, an individual who works in our tech department brought his daughter, who's a sophomore at Roselle High School, and really excited about coming here today. And, you know, when we always talk about, when we walk through the campus and talk to our employees, there is this family feel to this place. And to your point, when you go back the last 100 years, there are so many families that have multiple relatives, you know, moms and dads and daughters and sisters and aunts and uncles that have kind of worked and made this a larger family. I was this close to having my daughter come today, but at the last minute, she wriggled out of it. So in terms of turnout, do we see a bunch of folks? Do we really have like folks bring their kids by and large? Is it a nice turnout?
It is a nice turnout, and it's not just children, it's grandchildren, nieces and nephews. It's across our facilities. You know, they love to, as a former airport employee, they love to go to the airports and see the aircraft, but really our departments go the extra mile to plan a day's worth of events so that the kids leave at the end of the day with an amazing memories and want to come back.
That's great. Thanks, Christina. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
We're now going to provide an opportunity for the members of the public to comment on Port Authority matters. This public comment period, which may be limited to 30 minutes in total, provides an opportunity for members of the public to present their views directly to the board, but does not provide for a dialogue. Members of the public wishing to discuss a specific item will be directed to the Port Authority staff, and they'll be advised to contact the Public Affairs Department. Speakers asked to comply with a fixed time of 3 minutes. We have 4 listed. I'm not so sure all 4 are here. Is Harry here? Malakoff? Harry? Is John Seal here? Hey, John, come on up to the microphone. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, and thank you to the board for giving me the chance to speak. I'd like to just raise the issue of chronic delays and queues at immigration at JFK. I'm a relatively frequent JFK user. Have traveled through the facility a number of times in the last year. Every time there are very long lines at immigration, both for U.S. citizens, but much more for non-U.S. citizens. And I believe this is a problem for a number of reasons. First of all, it's gives a very poor first impression of New York, and a very poor first impression of the United States. People have been on long-haul flights, sometimes coming 12 to 14 hours to land here, and then to have to wait for an hour to get through immigration. I think just gives a bad taste in people's mouths as they enter this country. Secondly, I think it's a problem for New York economically. These are people who have come largely as tourists, some as business people, They're coming here to spend money. They're coming here to shop. They're coming here to go to New York facilities. Every hour that they waste standing in line at JFK is one less hour that they have to spend in New York buying things, supporting the New York economy, going to New York restaurants. It also, I think, impacts New York's competitiveness as an international financial and business center. Many other airports in the world are much more efficient in terms of getting people through immigration. And businesses have choices about where they want to base their staff and put their people. Finally, I think it's just unfair to the passengers. Passengers pay an airport fee as part of their fare, and I think they deserve better service when they arrive in this country. Now, this is not necessary. The technology exists to get people through immigration quickly. If you go to Heathrow, Gatwick, other European airports, the immigration checkpoints are automated. Going through Heathrow now or Gatwick takes no more than 2 or 3 minutes. It is just remarkably fast. So the technology exists to solve this. And I would just want to raise the issue to the board to see that if you are planning to make this technology shift, I believe it would be a good opportunity to redeploy the Homeland Security officers who are now stamping passports to something that's more meaningful. God knows there are enough threats to our national security that they could be doing something else in that airport, so that would also be serving their mission.
Great. Thank you very much for your comments. Hey, Jim Heitman, I don't normally direct it, but in terms of that issue, federal,
Yeah, that screening is done by the US CBP, so we often sit with them to try to support their resources from federal allocations into the New York region and locally, are constantly working to push for more resources and to leverage technology and look forward to technologies that are on the horizon. So it is something that we're paying close attention to and constantly pursuing at all of our international facilities.
but the feds staff it, maintain it,
Yes, it's
equip it.
It's staffed and operated by U.S. Customs and Border Protection.
Yeah, but I think if we continue to see that, we should probably create some conversation and let them know that there is a concern, and obviously from what the comments are, it's, doesn't bode well for New York.
We will take that away.
Thank you.
Thank you.
John Terrenew?
Thank you, Chairman O'Toole.
Hey, John.
And Commissioners. Hi. I wanted to give you an update on the work that we've been doing with Hudson County Complete Streets and some of the coalition working for a better path. As of right now, our petition asking for improved service is up to nearly 5,000, almost 5,000 people have written in asking for more path service and improvements to the path and the extension of the network to Newark Airport. So there's clearly a strong level of support. At this point, it's over 2% of the daily path ridership that is speaking out. We've seen some frustrations recently, in the recent weekends. The warm weather is driving a lot of people out and they're seeing delays in the stations. The overcrowding has gone back. It was down over the winter. Now it's gone back. And the stations are being quite packed, and our riders that we're talking to want to see that improvements in service. But I also wanted to say thank you for some of those crucial path forward investments. Hoboken Station gleams. It's beautiful. And we're hearing that the service is able to improve as a result of not just the station work, but the critical track work that's allowing the trains to run more smoothly and more reliably. And this is, I think, where we have a potential opportunity. One thing that we have noticed, and is frustrating riders temporarily, is that some of the trains are running by 2 or 3 minutes early. You can actually see in the schedules that the train's time shows up a certain time, but the train will show up 2 or 3 minutes early. Now, it's frustrating for riders because if they miss that train, if they show up on time, they have to wait 20 plus minutes until the next train. But we've learned that that is actually a cause of some of the great capital work that's been done. The path forward investments are allowing the trains to run faster. That's a good thing. And what that means is it's also an opportunity. Because the trains are running faster, they're getting to the ends faster, they're sitting at the terminals for a few minutes. That's an opportunity now to turn those trains around and run them more frequently. instead of waiting for 20 minutes, what if this was 18 minutes or 17 minutes or 16 minutes between trains? That would help with the overcrowding, get some of those many people off the platforms and into trains to their destination faster, and solve the number one ask from the community, which is run more trains. So I want to say thank you for the continued investment, and hopefully we can see changes and updates to the schedules to bring those wait times down, instead of 20 minutes, down to 18, 17, 16, to get back to the service levels we were seeing 10, 20, 30 years ago, and ultimately resolve the number one thing that the community needs, more trains. Thank you very much, and have
Thanks.
a great day.
Thanks, John. Jason Anthony.
Good afternoon, Commissioners. This time I came solo, but I have to expose one little truth. This morning, I was at the World Trade Center station, but someone that's behind me have to answer some questions. Why is it that every time I have to go downstairs to the World Trade Center station on the cycle path, I don't see Port Authority police there? And I see within 5 minutes people committing theft of service. And then we have the federal government, starting with Donald John Trump, Sean Duffy, Elon Musk, stripping the Metropolitan Transportation Authority funds. But I'm going to say, Libby, I want your answer regarding when you're going to publish data regarding federation. Because it doesn't make any sense that I go once in a blue moon, let's say I could appear anywhere by surprise and go to Jamaica Station on the air train. And I see tourists alike that see things in a single language, English. But listen to this, guys. New York City is a city that we have people that speak multiple languages, not only English and Spanish. They speak Italian, Portuguese, Russian, among others. The ambassadors are standing there doing nothing like statues. We have homeless people smoking cigarettes inside the facilities. And the Port Authority police don't do anything. As a native New Yorker, born in the Bronx, lives in Brooklyn, studies in Queens, and works in Staten Island, is asking for your help. I come to you guys asking for your help. It is time to care about New York, not New Jersey. And guys, let's put an elevator on 14th Street because the MTA put an elevator there. It's working. Let's work together.
Thank you, Jason. Jim, any more speakers lined up?
There are none.
Any videos or written statements?
There are none.
All right, thank you very much. That concludes the public portion. Moving ahead, we'll now proceed with the voting of the items for today's board and for the board's consideration. Each of the respective committee chairs will provide a brief report before we vote. As chair of the Committee on Operations, I'll now present two items for the committee's review and vote. First item authorizes a lease supplement with Korean Airlines for its continued occupancy of Cargo Building 9 at John F. Kennedy International Airport at market rates. The term is for 11 years, and the lessee is required to make a minimum of $15 million of investment in the building. Prior to making a motion, I ask for any recusals.
There are none.
Any questions? Motion, please. So moved. Second?
Second.
Roll call.
Chairman O'Toole?
Yes.
Commissioner Bollwage?
Yes.
Commissioner Eve?
Yes.
Commissioner Fine?
Yes.
Commissioner Fisher?
Yes.
Commissioner Kelly?
Yes.
Commissioner LaBarbera?
Yes.
Commissioner McCabe?
Yes.
Commissioner Richardson?
Yes.
Commissioner Rosado?
Yes.
Commissioner Helmy is filed as affirmative vote.
Right. Votes are in order. The item's been approved. The next item, authorize a 10-year lease with Worldwide Flight Services for Cargo Building 151 at John F. Kennedy International Airport at market rates. As part of the lease, Worldwide Flight Services will be required to invest a minimum of $13.2 million in building improvements. Prior to making a motion, I ask the corporate secretary for any recusals.
There are none.
Motion, any questions? Motion, please.
So moved.
Second.
Second.
Roll call.
Chairman O'Toole?
Yes.
Commissioner Bollwage?
Yes.
Commissioner Eve?
Yes.
Commissioner Fine?
Yes.
Commissioner Fisher? Yes. Commissioner Kelly?
Yes.
Commissioner LaBarbera?
Yes.
Commissioner McCabe?
Yes.
Commissioner Richardson?
Yes.
Commissioner Rosado?
Yes.
Commissioner Helmy is filed as affirmative vote.
Votes are in order. The item's been approved. As Vice Chair of the Committee on Capital Planning, Execution, and Asset Management, I'll report on one item. The item authorizes $60 million for preliminary planning, design, early action work for improvements to the AirTrain JFK system at JFK. Prior to making a motion, I ask the Corporate Secretary for any recusals.
There are none.
Any questions or comments from the Commissioners? Motion, please.
So moved.
Second.
Second.
Roll call.
Chairman O'Toole?
Yes.
Commissioner Bollwage?
Yes.
Commissioner Eve?
Yes.
Commissioner Fine?
Yes.
Commissioner Fisher? Yes. Commissioner Kelly?
Yes.
Commissioner LaBarbera?
Yes.
Commissioner McCabe?
Yes.
Commissioner Richardson?
Yes.
Commissioner Rosado?
Yes.
Commissioner Helmy has filed his affirmative vote.
All the votes are in order. The motion has been approved. Commissioner LaBarbera, as Chair of the Committee on Finance, please provide your report. While we're waiting, we have a video to play for this, right? Let's cue up the video. This actually works out pretty well.
So good morning. My name is Anissa Lau, Interim Chief of Health and Safety Officer, and I want to welcome you to the 2025 State of the Port Authority. Yay! So on behalf of the agency's leadership today, we are thrilled to see so many of you participating, whether it's joining us in person or watching the live stream. For the second year in a row, this is a sold-out event. We are so happy to see the engagement and support for the state of the PA. It is, after all, you, the employees of the Port Authority, that make this event possible.
The state of the port, how's it going? As we look around today, in this day in April of 2025, there's some unease, and there's some questions about what the future brings. And we talk about what's happening globally or nationally or regionally. And as the chair of the Port Authority, let me tell you something. We're going to be okay. When people think of the Port Authority, what do they think? The assets, the airports, and the tunnels, and the bridges, and ports, and path, and world trade. Me, I think of the Port Authority of the people, the flesh and blood that make this place operate for the last 104 years. Because that's what the Port Authority is. It's you, it's us. We are the Port Authority. I think when we work together, all 8,000 of us, putting our shoulder to shoulder, head to head, going in a room, talking about figuring things out, it gets done.
I want to start out by saying we're here to discuss the state of the Port Authority. The state of the Port Authority is strong. Because what our face to the public is our facilities. That it is what our charge is to deliver world-class facilities operated in a world-class manner. What I hope we all appreciate and don't take for granted is that we are at a high point, and it is because of your collective efforts. Both LaGuardia and Terminal A at Newark getting a 5-star rating from Skytrax. That is actually extraordinary. We're on the verge of starting construction on a new $10 billion Port Authority Midtown bus terminal. And we are going to build a world-class project that will win awards the way our airports are winning awards. And we will break ground in the very near future.
And so we listened deeply. We held hundreds of meetings with elected officials, community stakeholders, and transit partners. We walked the site, met with neighbors, and reshaped our understanding of what this terminal had to be. From that, a clear mission emerged. Build a best-in-class terminal in Manhattan on our land, no displacement, and that serves both commuters and the community.
How do you successfully prepare the public for such a major disruption to their daily lives? In our case, we found success with these 3 core principles listed here. These were possible through the dedication and effort of staff across the agency. Everyone from frontline field staff at PATH, PAPD, engineering, and the bus terminal, to our marketing, media, and GoCore teams, to departments including procurement and tech, helped ensure that we completed the project on time and provided a way for thousands of displaced customers to still get to where they needed to go during this closure.
The goal is simple: break down barriers to employment for justice-impacted individuals. Since 2019, the Office of Second Chance has grown from a local community effort for the JFK Redevelopment Program to a regional effort with over 45 community-based organizations and over 111 active employer participation. To date, we've connected over 230 individuals to meaningful careers in transportation.
The Port Authority has been and continues to be a global leader in sustainability. As you heard from Rick, in 2018, we were the first transportation agency to commit to the Paris Climate Accords. And we have reaffirmed our pledge to sustainability in 2021 in our net zero commitment. Today, we remain as committed as ever to reaching our goals: a 35% reduction in agency emissions by the end of this year, 50% by 2030, and full net zero for all emissions by 2050.
Port Authority has a long history of reducing energy use in its buildings. We are now turning our attention to ensuring our buildings are totally free from fossil fuels. Building 1 will serve as a template for electrifying buildings agency-wide, providing key lessons learned about technology, commercial structuring, and cross-agency coordination.
We live in a moment of rapid technological change, and we at the Port Authority are committed to being at the cutting edge, at the forefront of what is possible. To get there, we set up our own innovation hub, which last year presented 21 pitches for new ideas and completed 14 pilot projects, pushing the envelope. More than just keeping up with the trends, we're building the future. Electric flight, artificial intelligence, and autonomous vehicles aren't just concepts on the horizon, they're projects that we're making real right now.
Currently, millennials comprise approximately 35% of the U.S. workforce, while Gen Z accounts for about 18%. Projections indicate by 2030, millennials and Gen Z will together represent nearly 74% of the workforce. In light of these evolving demographics, what strategies does the agency have in place to update its policies and procedures to attract and retain these younger generations?
I think when we talk about the Port Authority performing at the top of its game, that is, or at least I think of that as a way to attract the best and the brightest, and it's sort of what the chairman said, which seems to make this a place where they want to come.
So just a little explanation that the State of the Port Authority is an annual event that we do now that we're coming out of COVID, and we invite all the employees together and we talk about where we're at. But the coolest thing about it is you go to a site, and it was a magnificent site. What's the name of that place? Offhand, Christine, that we went to. Where did we hold it? What was it? Museum of Jewish Heritage. It was just amazing. It was phenomenal. I mean, you go there to the top floor, and you're looking at the Statue of Liberty, and you couldn't be more inspired. It's amazing. And you get to sit and have coffee and breakfast with our employees we haven't seen in many months, and you just have a nice conversation for an hour or two, and then we roll, and then Rick and I have our comments, and then we hear from the Port Authority family about what's exciting, what's going on, and in the end they try to stump us. It's a Q&A, which is really cool. They ask some really good questions, and Rick gets all the hard ones. I like that one. I said, Rick, you can handle that. But when you walk out of there together, 400 of us, you just have this sense of sisterhood and brotherhood. You have a sense of family. You have a sense of purpose. You have a sense of mission. And we need to do more of that. And we need to be more, have a sense of connectivity amongst ourselves. Again, we've been away from everybody, emerging back. We're returning to work 4 days a week coming September. There is something special about seeing everybody face-to-face and sharing a comment, a breakfast, a coffee, an experience, a meeting. And Rick, you did a wonderful job. Staff who put it together did a magnificent job. And I think there's so many positives that come out of that, Rick. And you and I are together. We need to do more of those type of connectivities.
Well, and I think the panels showed off the best and the brightest. They were really, the presentations were excellently done. They're crisp to the point, and the delivery was the same. And it was really a very gratifying experience.
Really was. All right, last bit of business, Gary LaBarbera, Commissioner.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. As Chair of the Committee on Finance, I'm recommending that the committee consider an item that authorizes the purchase of property damage and loss of revenue insurance, including coverage for acts of terrorism for Port Authority assets. The coverage is placed under two separate programs, one covering Port Authority assets at the World Trade Center site, and the second covering all other agency facilities. This is a vote of the Committee on Finance only. Prior to making a motion on this item, I asked the Corporate Secretary to note any commissioner recusals on this matter.
There are no recusals.
Do any commissioners have any questions or comments on this item? Hearing none, I now request a motion on this item.
Motion.
Can I have a second on the motion?
Second.
I now request the Corporate Secretary to call the roll for voting on this item.
Commissioner LaBarbera?
Yes.
Commissioner McCabe?
Yes.
Commissioner Fine?
Yes.
Commissioner Kelly?
Yes.
Commissioner Richardson?
Yes.
As the votes are in order, the item is approved. Back to you, Mr. Chairman.
All right, there be no further business. Move to adjourn. Have a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Meeting's adjourned. We'll see everybody in May. Thank you.